this. Everybody read that? This is the most important part. Everything I said to you before doesn't matter at all compared to this. And if you can master this, you can have anything. So now when I'm working with people, whether, like I said, it's a person, a group, a business owner, whatever, it doesn't matter. This is it. This is what I'm working on. This is what I'm working with. This is who I'm talking to. This is what I'm addressing or whom I'm addressing. All the other stuff, I know, I knew, it was great. I was trying to figure out the truth. I was trying to figure out, why does this work? Why does this not work? Does being black matter? Does being a woman matter? Does being educated matter? Does being like, what matters, what doesn't, to what degree, what extent? Because there are people with no education and they're super rich, people with a whole bunch of education and they're homeless. There's men that are rich and men that are broke, women that are rich and women that are broke. There are black women that are rich and black women that are broke. There's every graphic group, there are people winning and losing. So then how do you figure out what winning or losing, what makes that happen? This is everything. All the other stuff, once I all those different things that I learned were just me trying to figure out how to win in life. Because I started to realize one day, you could be a good person and your life could literally be terrible. You could, we're not saying anybody's perfect or an angel, and you know if you're doing way too much. But if you can genuinely believe, like, I'm a cool dude, I'm a cool woman, like I'm cool, I'm not out here, killing people and stabbing people and robbing people. So I consider myself pretty good, but then how come my life doesn't reflect that? If I am good, how come my life isn't? Well, because we're looking at something physical and we're not looking at this in the psychological, in the true essence of the meaning, right? So Marcus, if I said to you, I am, what does that mean? No, I don't want to ask you. I changed my mind on you. John, if I asked you, what is I am? What does that mean to you? This is the whole reason we're here this morning. The other stuff was just to get you warmed up and to get you thinking like, damn, I didn't know that. To say, man, maybe there's some other stuff I didn't know. So this is why we're here this morning. So John, what does that mean to you?
I am could be the start to you saying descriptive of who you are personally. I am could be, if you're talking religiously, the great I am, the origin.
Okay. Nisha, in the wisdom book, the Bible, when Moses was going to free the people out of Egypt, and he went to God and said, hey man, or God came to him and said, hey, I want you to free my people out of Egypt. And he said, man, I can't tell the Pharaoh that. Who am I going to say told me to do it? What did God say? Who should I tell him sent me? What did God say its name was?
I am.
Did it say its name was God?
I don't believe so.
No. So then now we're talking about, this is something different now. So some of us that are parents, we're parents. That's a title. That's not us. It's a title. It's not us. In this context, it's a title. That's why it said, my name is I am. So John just said it's the start, the origin. It's true. You always have to say this before you're saying I am. But now what else is I am? What else is this? If you say I am, what are you acknowledging? What are you saying?
I'm describing who I am, or I'm describing what I am. When somebody says I am, I'm a father, I'm a man,
No, I am. A father and a man is what you're attaching to it. Were you a father at 8?
I'm a human. I'm human.
So, no, I am. What is that? You attach human.
I want to say, this is Maurice speaking. I want to say it's what you currently are. So the ... that comes behind that is what you attach to it, right? So I am becomes just what you currently are.
It is, okay. So another thing it is I'll speed it up, is consciousness. It's consciousness. It's your awareness of being. When you are 3 years old, when you're 3 weeks old, does anybody know when they're 3 weeks old, whether you're a man or a woman, did you know that you were a boy or a girl at 3 weeks old?
No.
Did you know where you were? Like New York, California, Florida, did you know where you were?
No.
Did you know, you knew your name to some degree, but did you know how old you were?
No, not unless you were told.
At 3 weeks old?
Oh, no, not at 3 weeks.
So then what did you know?
Okay.
No, you knew that you were. You didn't know what you were, where you were, how you were, but you knew that you were. You knew that you were alive. Why do you think you cried when you were hungry? Why do you think you smiled when somebody tickled you? Why do you think you cried to get somebody to pick you up? You were conscious. You were aware of being. What you are aware of being, to your point of Maurice and some of the other people that spoke, is what you attach to I am. I am a man. Now I'm aware of being a man, but I'm aware of being before I attach anything else. I'm always aware of being. So the reason you didn't know what you were beside aware of being is because none of those things really matter. Those things are just attachments that you become aware of or pick up on the way in life, but they're not the most important thing. This is the most important thing. Your awareness. So when this said I am, it's talking about consciousness. It's talking about consciousness. So I am. So now, what does consciousness make up? Well, I, right, is singular. It just means us individually. So I as an individual, I, right, am. Am is a conjunctive word. It means, it's Hebrew. It means ab or Abba, which is father. The M stands for mem or mother. Father and mother are not talking about male and female humanity. They are personifications of their personifications. So in this case, father is the personification of thought. Mother is the personification of feeling or emotion. We are always thinking and feeling to express when we say to express ourselves. I am. We're always thinking and feeling. We're always imagining and assuming. We're always thinking and anticipating our thought. We're always conscious. Now we're conscious of what? Conscious of being a man, of being a woman, of being a father, of being a husband or a wife or whatever else it is, right? That's what this is talking about. It's talking about the thought and the feeling that we use to create. It's talking about consciousness is always thinking and feeling. So even as a three-week-old, you could think and feel. You could feel cold, you could feel sick, you could think. Obviously you were thinking to cry. Something wasn't what you wanted it to be. I assume there's some parents in here beside myself, right? I know some of them. Have you ever picked up your child and they were 3 weeks old and they were crying and then they stopped for a second and then they kept crying? Does that happen to anyone, right? Why? Yeah. So if that happened, what did that mean?
It seems like the child is observing that they have your attention and that you're tuned into what they're doing.
So that means, and I'll speed it up, that's pretty good. And that means you didn't give them what they wanted. That means they can discern and decide and differentiate and distinguish, and they can't even spell.
We know that this cold weather has made it difficult for firefighters.
Right? That means they know what they want.
Of course.
And they know you didn't give it to them. So they're going to keep communicating until you give it to them. So that means they're not just accepting anything because they know anything is not everything. They want a certain thing. So that means they have that capacity at 3 weeks old. So do you think they just got it then? No, that means they had it before then. So that means they were conscious then and they were conscious before then. Now, like I said, there's other parents here. So when the mother of our child is pregnant and we read to them or they read to them, why are we doing that if they're not out of the womb yet? Because we know they can hear. They can hear. Has anybody ever been on a playground after school and there's a whole bunch of balls going around and people in the jungle gym back in the day, and there's people fighting, people playing basketball, people chasing each other, people sitting around gossiping, all the stuff we do after school before our parents pick us up. Then our parents rolled and pick us up in elementary school. They roll and pick us up and they yell out Joe or John or Marcus or Nisha or Gerardo. And all these things are going on and we turn and look. Has that ever happened to anybody?
Yes.
How did we hear that amongst all the other noise? How were we able to differentiate that sound, our name, amongst all these other names and words and all these different things going on in our environment?
Because the person that said it, we were familiar with. You probably heard it many times.
So, and when was the first time we heard it?
Mm.
So we hear things, we learn things best in silence. So when people are meditating, it's essentially being able to listen to yourself. So that when you go out in the world, you can still hear yourself. You can still think. Another word for meditating is entertaining. When you're entertaining company, you're entertaining people, you're entertaining. You're having a discourse, you're having an interaction. Meditating is the same thing. What are you entertaining? It's the thoughts you're entertaining. It's the relationship you're having with the physical you and the non-physical you. And you learn that best in quiet first. You learn how to tune your ear to something in quiet first, so that when it gets loud, you still are familiar with the tune, the tone, the pitch. So a lot of times we can't hear ourselves because we don't spend enough time with ourselves. We're distracted by everything. Phone, TV, friends, news, everything. So we're always our attention, ourself, our attention. We are our attention. We're consciousness. Wherever our consciousness goes, that's where we are. So when people are trying to get your attention, they're trying to get you. You ever been standing in the kitchen and you're talking to somebody and they're just in another world or just didn't hear you? And you're like, hey, and then they turn around. Well, the reason you kept going is because even though their physical body was there, you didn't have their attention. You didn't have them. You knew intuitively you didn't have them. Their body could be there, but if you don't have their attention, you don't have them, right? Your attention is what everyone is fighting for. The TV, the news, the apps on your phone, the watch you put on your wrist that notifies you all the time. Everything is fighting for your attention because that's you. That's the truth. Your attention is you. So this is part of it. Now, if I write this up here, now we're about to speed up a little bit, but we're also about to go a little deeper to send you guys off with something. If I write this, if I write that. So if I said, Nisha, if I said to you, there's on the playground, there's a Jew and a Christian. I want you to give $2 to the Jew and $1 to the Christian. And there's two people out there. There's a Jew and a Christian. I want you to give $2 to one and $1 to the other. How would you do that?
I wouldn't be able to distinguish the two. Not by looking at them.
So then how do you distinguish them?
Maybe by talking to them, asking them questions.
So talking is a form of what?
Education and discovery.
ING. Verb. It's a form of talking, doing, right? You have to do something, or they have to do something to alert you to who they are. You have to do something to find out, or they have to do something to alert you. Just the name in and of itself is not it. Sun. How do we know? Why do we say what's different than the sun or the moon? How do we distinguish between the two? Bardo, how do we distinguish between the sun and the moon?
One produces heat, the other one lights the night.
What's the key word in that sentence you used?
One.
We think we describe things based on their noun. We really describe them based on the verb. We define things based on what they do. It's a doing that helps us define what it is. So once we understand what it does, we attach a name to it. It's not the other way around. Because if we just have the name, it still doesn't tell us what it is or what it does. Not truthfully. That's why Nisha said, well, she would either have to do something or somebody would have to do something in order to get to the truth of this matter, right? So now if in the book, this thing said its name is I am, then I am is consciousness, then what exactly then does this mean? It said you're made in the image and likeness of it. What does that mean? Shorten it up. I submit to you, this is not a noun. It's a verb. Just like these. It is consciousness. It's the highest level of thought. It is what we're always doing, thinking and feeling, assuming itself to be. And God said, let there be light. It created light from thought and saying, if I like that, I think that's good. Let there be. It created what it imagined first. We are imaginative beings. We are always creating from what we're thinking and feeling. That's the image and likeness we're made in, is the ability to think and feel anything. The reason why humans are so great and so terrible is because we can think or feel anything. The reason why dogs are so reliable is because they only have one level of consciousness. They don't want to be a cat tomorrow or a bird. or a human. So they perfected it. A tree will grow as tall as it is genetically designed to grow because it has no other aspiration. We can be a doctor, a lawyer, a dentist. How many things as adults have we been in our lives, right? Because we have the ability to think and feel. We can choose and change. Other levels of consciousness below us cannot. They do not. That's why they're reliable and dependable, so to speak. You don't ever walk in the house to your cat and it starts barking. If it did, you'd probably start running. You'd be like, yeah, it's time to go. I don't know what's happening here, but not around me. Gotta go. Or it's gotta go, but this can't stay like this. So we are always producing, our life from I aming, from thinking and feeling things. So when someone says, oh, I want to be this or I want to be that, well, just like I believe it was Joe said, it's the start or the origin of something. When you say I want to be, when someone is a truck driver, but they want to be a lawn owner. Well, if they're a truck driver, they've attached their I am to being a truck driver. So they say, I am a truck driver. If you want to be a salon owner, you have to learn in your mind, I'm just kind of have to speed up because I don't want to keep everybody too long. You have to learn in your mind to detach your I amness from truck driver and attach it to salon owner. So that you now say, I am a salon owner. You're attaching your consciousness, just like you attach your phone to electricity. Electricity powers your phone. Your consciousness powers, right? This is your phone, trucker. Consciousness is the electricity, it's the law that powers your what you're aware of being. So what happens is people want to be a salon owner, but they're aware of being a trucker. And so what happens is they try to work to become a salon owner while they consciously remain a trucker, and that's why their labor goes in vain. That's why they become weary in well-doing, because they're not understanding how this works. This is a verb. It is the highest form of thought. It's why historically we pray to it, because it can do something that we can't. It's a level of doing. But all action is precipitated by thought, is preceded by thought. So this is the highest level of thought. This is the lowest. Devil or Satan never created anything. It only takes. That's where the word doubt comes from. The doubter. It's when you decide to be one thing and something comes in your mind and says, well, that's what that is. But when you decide to be one thing, when you say, I want to be, you're doing this. In linguistics, there is a concept called, it means when you move the vowels of a word around and still maintain its meaning. God, good, guide, guard. We understand that when they say I before E, except after Y, and all that stuff. This is the same thing. It's a linguistic term, which means you can either substitute one vowel for a double vowel, or you can move these around or transfer them and still keep the same meaning. When you are thinking at the highest level of thought, you're thinking you're good. You're thinking good. You are guiding yourself. You are guarding yourself. You are guiding. It's an action. It's the ability to think at the highest level of how do I become something? What am I saying? Let there be, right? So a lot of times when somebody says, I want to grow my business, right? I'll put it over here. I want to grow my business. Well, when I'm working with people, the reason why people can't grow their business is because their business, they're this size, which you can't barely see, but they want their business to be this size, which you can still barely see, but it's bigger than the other one. The point is that they're trying to grow the trucker bigger than the I am. Their awareness of being is too small to hold their desire to expand. And if they don't expand their consciousness, what they're aware of being, they can't expand their expression, because their expression is a direct relation of their awareness of being. You can't express what you have not first experienced. So if I said, Nisha, have you ever been to Alaska?
No.
Okay, great. Tell us all about it.
I've never been.
Yeah, but that's great. Tell us all about it.
Can't tell you anything I don't know.
So that means you can't express what you have not first experienced. I am is your experience, is what you decide you are in order to express trucker, salon owner, business owner, healthy, happy. All physical things are expressive. They are not creative. Your health is an expression of your consciousness in that area. So when we say I am sick, it means we're aware of being sick. But we think that's after the fact. I'm telling you, it's before it. It's what created the fact. A healthy mind cannot produce a sick body. Only a sick mind can do that. Only a mind that's not functioning properly in thoughts, right? So what we're talking about is we can't express something before we experience it, right? So if I said, John, if I said, I want you to take a deep breath in, and then I want you to blow it out, and then I want you to talk. But as soon as you blow it out, you have to talk. All right, everybody watching him? All right, go ahead, John, let's see it work.
I see.
Do you get it?
Absolutely.
If everyone takes a deep breath in real quick, take a deep breath in, everyone. Blow it out. Okay, Joe, talk. Can anybody do it?
The air that you've exhausted with breathing out consumes the ability to produce the vocalization for words.
Perfect. So, what do you have to do to be able to talk at that point?
Stop, regain your composure, and then speak.
Yeah, but you have to do what?
You still have to breathe.
Breathe in
Breathe.
first. You
Yeah.
still have to go
Yeah.
in first,
Yeah.
right? In order to express out, you first have to go in. So why do you think it says in the book, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you? Why do you think you have to go in first? If Nisha, you're at the store and you're at the checkout line and you want to pay, what do you have to do?
I have to swipe my card first.
Yeah, before you swipe your
Well,
card.
I gotta check out first.
Nope. You what do you have to do? Before you swipe your card, where'd you get your card from?
Oh, out of my wallet.
So you had to do what?
I have to go in.
You had to go in.
I have to go in.
That's a law. It's a principle. You can. How do you know the difference between a law, like a law and a principle, the same thing, and a rule? A rule means it's something. What do they say? Rules are made to be
Broken.
broken. A law or principle. Well, let's just say a principle. Principle is a better word. A principle is something that cannot be broken. How do we know? If you jump off this roof, is anybody going up? No. Anybody. White people, rich people, poor people, Democrats, Republicans, men, women, feminism, sexism, any type of thing. Is anybody going up? Can you buy your way up? There's a lot of rich people out here. Can you buy your way up? Hey man, I got that new package. When I jump off, I go up. Anybody got that? Because if they do, let me know. If there's a payment plan, I'm on it. Whatever it costs, I'm in. No, because it's a law. The law of gravity, the law of sowing and reaping, the law of thermodynamics, the law of assumption, the law of consciousness. They're laws. They're not breakable. They're immutable, right? So anytime you want to express out, swipe your card, become something, talk, speak, you have to go in first. That is why it says the kingdom of heaven is within you. So when you are trying to establish or experience something in your life, you have to go in first. And in to do what? To establish the experience in your mind. Seeing yourself being or doing or having whatever it is you want to express. There's an order, like math, an order of operations. You have to breathe in first before you can breathe out. We understand that. If you apply that to your consciousness, meaning I am now assuming myself to be whatever it is I want, that's going in first. That's experiencing it first. You now express automatically. When you breathe in, anybody breathe in and just hold it? Anybody doing that nowadays? I mean, there's a lot of new stuff out. I don't know. But is anybody just breathing in and just holding it? No, once you breathe in, you let it go at some point. Same thing. Once you breathe in, you're going to have to let it go. Whatever you take in, you have to let go. That's what it says. That's what it means. As a mind thinks, so is it. It's a law of sowing and reaping. Whatever you put in is going to come out. So when people talk about karma, That's not a real thing the way people say it. It's not that way. It's the law of sowing and reaping. What does that mean? Well, if I do something to someone, then it's going to come back to me. Yeah, but why? Well, because what you did was precipitated by what? One, your actions are precipitated by what?
Your thoughts.
Your thought. Your thought, what did I say earlier? Another word for thought is what? A seed. When you have planted a seed in the ground, don't you expect it to come up at some point? And doesn't it come up just like the seed you planted, like itself? So the law of sowing and reaping means when you plant a thought in your mind and you leave it there to expression, it's going to express. Now, the first place it may express is someone else, but as long as it remains in your mind, it's your soil, it's your body. You think it's not coming back for you? It has to express itself through you. How could it not? It's the thought that you hold in your mind that people call karma. It's the thought that you hold in your mind that's what's making you express. So even though you do it to someone first, yeah, it's going to come back to you, not because you did something to someone, but because the thought you have makes you do it. But the thought is what's doing it to you. It's the fact that you're thinking improperly and whatever, but that's still a seed. The law doesn't care what you think. It only cares that you're thinking. That's why it says the law is no respecter of persons. Doesn't care. It only cares when you plug something into that to your socket, and you plug it in, it's going to charge it. Unless you plug in something incorrect in the sense of something that doesn't go with that, it either won't work or you'll shock yourself. You don't violate the laws. The laws are immutable. You can't violate them. And so what happens is, since we don't know them, we work in ignorance. I don't want to hold anybody, but try to get to the end real quick. Show you guys one more thing. We work in ignorance, right? So everything physically that we express comes down to two things. Knowledge, ignorance. Comes down to these two things. Knowledge, right? To know. From that, right? From ignorance, knowledge and ignorance. From ignorance comes sin. Sin is a Greek word. It means, and it's also a Hebrew word, kata. It's a Hebrew word also. It means to miss the mark. That's what the word sin means. Doesn't mean you did something wrong. Doesn't mean that you didn't slap somebody. It doesn't mean what everybody connotatively takes it to mean, meaning the way people use the word now. That's not what the word actually means. The original word in etymology means to miss the mark, meaning you're not being what you want to be. When you pull that bow back and you fire at that target, if you miss the mark, it means you're not being what you want to be. You didn't hit what you wanted to hit. You didn't become what you wanted to become. You didn't get the outcome that you started for. That's what the word sin means. Repentance. Another Greek word, metanoia. It means a radical change of mind. It means when you do this, you don't have to cry, whine, fall all out, get a heart attack, get all upset, start sweating. It just means turn around, change your mind, like this. Like when you pass the street and you're like, oh God, I passed the street, I went too far. You just hit a U-turn or you go around the corner. You don't fall all out. You don't pull the car over and start crying and praying. You just turn around. It just means you erred. The sin was an error and repentance is just you correcting it. So repentance is on this side, so to speak. Righteousness in that book is always juxtaposed to this. These are opposite. So when you're sinning, it means you miss your mark. It means you are not able to conceive yourself to be what you want. Righteousness means the ability to see yourself as what you desire to be before it physically happens, but as the creator, as who you are, right? In action, as who you are in action, right? The verb, it is saying, let there be. Whether it's light, sun, moon, stars, whether it is salon owner, health, wealth, let there be, right? You're always doing that. Righteousness is the ability to see yourself as you desire to be. That is what creates the physical expression. Seeing yourself as you desire to be is vision. That's why it says in the book, my people perish for a lack of vision, for the inability to see something for the inability to imagine. Imagine is a creative faculty. Sight is a physical faculty. It means you're able to see, to look at what exists, to look at what's in your physical world. Nation is your ability to go within, like that breath, and see what you can create in your physical world. So all of us on the West Coast, we go to Vegas, right? What is Vegas? A bunch of dust, dirt, and cowboys. But whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. The mafia came from the East Coast and built Vegas. It was nothing but dust and dirt. And now it's the adult playground. They got all kind of people there. They got kids basketball teams, prostitution, they got gambling, they got everything all in the same city. But it all started with a vision because they couldn't have seen it. It was nothing but dust and dirt. Vision is your envision, imagine, right? Inspire the things that come from the inside that you can see in your mind, you can create in your life. They already exist. The word invention, inventio, it's a Latin word. It means to stumble upon, to come upon. It doesn't mean to create. Creation is finished. We just don't see it in our 3D world. The only way we get access to it is by the assumption of our experience with it. Seeing ourselves with it, being it, doing it, having it. That is the way we come into one with it. The two shall become one flesh. The thought and the feeling become one flesh. When they're talking about marriage in the Bible, they're not talking about marriage the way we think they are. No, they're talking about the union between thought and feeling. When they're talking about man and woman, they're talking about thought and feeling. When they're talking about man and woman, they're talking about, and the subconscious. The subconscious is the woman. The conscious is the man. It just means whatever thought you implant into here, it will produce. It's just talking about the faculty of birth giving, the two becoming one. Every man has some estrogen. Every woman has some testosterone. We both have the same things. One just has more of the other one has more of the other, but we both have it. So women can think and men can feel. But and both as an individual, we have both within us. But the other one has the most generally, so we come together to produce something, a child, an expression. So thinking and feeling is what creates. It's what expresses. It's the creative faculty. It's not labor. That's why it says, be you transformed by the renewing of your mind. When you renew your mind, it will transform you. It will change you. Labor doesn't do it. Weights doesn't do it. Diet doesn't do it. Law, health, history doesn't do it. I learned all the stuff I learned in law and health and history and all kinds of stuff I can tell you guys. I've literally dropped it all in the sense of it being my salvation for that. Once I understood that, and I work with that every day by conditioning my mind to say, what do I want to be? And just like John said, the origin and the start, I am what? Whatever I attach to that, I become in physical expression. When I think and feel that to be true, that is what I become. Whatever all of us are right now, it is what we've expressed by doing this process. That's why it says everything that was made this way, and there's not anything that wasn't made that was not made this way. It's talking about imagination, it's talking about this process, like math, like order of operations. Boom, 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 boom. This is the order in which you go from higher to expression. There's an order. So once you assume you are something and you lock that in and you walk in that assumption, you will express whatever it is. That is your creative faculty. That's what you're made in the image and likeness of, is the ability to think at that level. This word is a verb. It's what it's able to do. It's not just, otherwise, how could you see it? How would you know it? Why would you try to talk to it? Otherwise it's just a statue. It's just something inanimate, but you're made in the image and likeness of it. We are the physical expression of this. This is who we are. But who we are is not a being like that. It's an action, it's an ability. It's why we have something that other people don't have.
Excuse me.
Yes.
All right. So this is Mark. Some folks on the call may know me as Black Moses.
There you go. Yes, sir.
So I actually joined a little late, so I apologize for that because I just got off of work. Is there a way that we can tap into, because it sounds like we're talking about, the whole level of actual type of consciousness, and in order to do something, you have to think about it first in order to do that. Mm-hmm. Is there a way to tap into our brain power to use more of our brain so that we can elevate our ability level?
Absolutely. So to answer your question, yes. How do you develop anything, whether it's a skill or a relationship?
How do you develop anything? You tend to try to cultivate that.
Which requires your
work.
Your time and your effort.
Effort, correct.
Time and effort. And I don't mean labor. I just mean time and
Attention.
focused attention. You don't have to sweat and cry and bleed and burn candles, right? But so it just means time and your attention. So to develop yourself, right? You take your time. That's what people do when that's why in the book it says study to show yourself approved. In this book, they're just telling you to do that so that you can rightly divide the word of truth, so that you can understand who you are and what you are. So to answer your question, just as a person, yes, you literally, that's why people meditate, or that's why people script, or that's why but basically it's just about spending some quiet time with yourself. We don't do enough. So we don't know anything that we know or that we develop is because we spent time with it. Our self is no different. We just don't spend time with ourself like we do with other people. So when we're with our wives, our husbands, or our kids, or our friends, we're not doing, you ever been with somebody and you're with them at a restaurant or something and they're somewhere else, they're texting somebody or they're doing something completely unrelated to where you are? That's literally what we do with ourselves. With everyone else, they'll get our attention. But with ourselves, we're in the car, we got the radio on. We're at home, we got the TV on. We're on the phone with someone. We never just spend time with ourselves one-on-one like we do with someone else to develop that relationship with them. We have to do the same thing with ourselves. So just how many of us just rub our arm and say, man, I love you. Thank you for working. We only rub our arm when it hurts. How many of us, look at ourselves in the mirror and say, hey man, I love you, I'm proud of you, keep up the good work. We don't look at ourselves like, man, I'm getting old, I'm wrinkled. We don't ever spend any time with ourselves or talk to ourselves the way we do with other people. That's why our performance is so weak. Because we are the people that have to do the work, and yet the relationship between me and my greater self, so to speak, is the weakest relationship I have. But yet that's the one I have to use to be to everyone else. We're tapped out, we're worn out. We're not going in first. Like we did, I don't know if you were around on that exercise where you breathe in and exhale and try to talk. If you try to talk after the end of that exhale, you don't have anything to offer. Most of us don't have anything to offer because we're trying to offer it. We're trying to have a relationship with ourselves after everyone else. We give everyone else the first of everything. And we've been conditioned to do that, thinking it's noble and honest and just and pure. And it's not possible. You can't give what you don't have. And you don't have anything if you don't develop anything. And you don't develop anything if you don't spend any time and attention with it. So to answer your question, yes, it's literally by sitting down and just getting quiet and talking to yourself and just thinking. We're always talking to ourselves. It's just usually bad. Meaning it's usually incorrect. There is no good or bad, essentially. It means if I make decision A or decision B, which one is correct? Well, no one, right? Which one is correct? Well, you say, I don't know, depends on what happened, right? But the thought process for each one, whether I turn left or turn right, is not good or bad. The outcome of it, I describe as good or bad. So the point to answer your question is that spend some time with yourself. Sit down and be quiet so you can hear yourself. Like I don't know if you hear at that part either when we talked about the playground and we could hear our parents' voice even amongst a whole bunch of other noise. It's because we heard it in the silence. We tuned our ear into it. So when you sit down and you get quiet for yourself, even if it's just 5 minutes, make some time for yourself and get quiet. Turn all the external stimulation off. That's why the world is always trying to get your attention, because they know how powerful you are. And we give it to them because we don't know how powerful we are, right? So sit down and be quiet from your wife, from your kids, from your friends. If you live by, it doesn't matter. Just get quiet. Doesn't matter if you live with someone or don't, doesn't matter. Sit down for a couple minutes a day and just get quiet. Just observe your thoughts. Listen to what you say to yourself. Listen how you talk to yourself. Then it'll go to 6 minutes. It'll go to 7 minutes. And it won't be meditation the way people say it, but you'll be developing your relationship. So then when you go out in the world, you'll hear yourself. Hey man, don't go over there. Don't do that. You know what? Why don't you stop by the bank first? You'll get used to hearing that pitch and that tone. You'll hear yourself. Just like you heard your parents when they called your name amongst a bunch of other noise. So spending time with yourself, focused, attentive time with yourself will allow you to express, you'll see more of yourself. You'll dig into yourself more and you'll express, because everything is in you already.
Okay, thank you for that. I
Yes,
appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
So I'll stop my rambling with all this other stuff because I can go on forever. So I'll open it up for questions so that people can get on with their day. Anybody have any questions about anything I said or anything else?
All right, so it's quiet. So I'm a person that asks a lot of questions, so
Yeah, go for
I
it.
can go on and on. So is there any type of religious backing to what you are trying to teach, or is this just about trying to elevate, that type of consciousness of people?
What does the word religion mean?
In my book, it's paying
No.
Oh.
What does and two plus two is what?
4.
Is it in your book?
No.
See what I mean? We got to deal with the truth. That's the only thing that sets us free. We don't get to choose it. We have to
But a
know.
lot of things that are being taught,
Correct.
or a lot of things that are being taught aren't exactly factual either. Because we, in school, we are
Yes.
being taught some things. And when you become more woke, you
Mhm.
find out what you were taught
Mhm.
was not necessarily factual.
Because there are three things that are always happening. And I remember your question. I'm answering it a different way and getting back to it.
Sure,
So
absolutely.
yes. So there are three things if we're watching. There is, let's just say, a lie. There is true, and there is truth. A lie is obvious, meaning we know what a lie is, whenever we find it, at the beginning, middle, or the end, but we know what it is. Truth is the only thing that sets us free. It's the only thing that stands under the light. It's the only thing that can hold its own. So you don't have to support it. You don't have to justify it or explain it. It's like winning a game. The winners never have to explain, only the losers, right? True is what you're now talking about. The difference between these two. True is maybe true or maybe false. But what true generally is, right, a lot of times is what humanity, what people agree to. So that's like when people said the world was flat, or that's like when people said you can't run a 4-minute mile, and now there's been people running 3 somethings. But everybody believed it, even though it wasn't truth. It was true because people agreed to it. Just like money. Money is fiat currency. It's not the truth. It doesn't set us free. That's why there's inflation. Money, moneta, the Latin word moneta, means coinage, means coins. So what we're really talking about when we're talking about money, we're talking about notes. A dollar is a unit of measurement. Like pint or quart. It is a receipt, literally, for how much gold or silver you had in the bank. That was the original meaning and definition of it. Now, since they took us off the gold standard in 1933, now you can just print notes, and that's why there's inflation, because they're not backed by anything. So, but we still say it's true. We still agree to use it. Even though it's not the truth, that's why we're not free. But it's really this, that's why we're enslaved, right? By, in this case, inflation. So to get to your question, when I say, you said, or, religion. Religion, that word comes from the Latin word religare. It means 3 things. 1, it means to rebind, to come back together, right? 2, it means to break down. It means to understand something at the finest, at the most granular level. So you can take a brick and you beat it all the way down until you understand, until it gets to the finest points, right? And number 3, it is a ceremony. It is a ceremony that is done in recognition of the awareness of something, like a birthday party, like a wedding anniversary. Like it's a celebration, it's a ceremony that we do to acknowledge our awareness of something. Something is happening, right? So to your point, what happens is that I may roll by and see you throwing a birthday party at a park, and I don't know what it is. I just see you out there partying. So, but you did it because it's a birthday. Somebody's turning 13 and you showed up. And I'm like, cool, that looks like fun. So the next day I throw a party at the same park, but I call it a picnic. It means I'm doing the same thing you're doing, but I don't know why I'm doing it. You do. So now I'm just doing what I saw you do, but I have no concept or understanding of why I'm doing it, right? So when we talk about religion, right, the whole point is that I'm saying, what do you mean by the definition of this word? Because the whole point of this is then, this is religion, this is religion. It is to lead you back to your true self, meaning the actual definition of the word. So when people say, oh, I work out religiously, what does that mean? You do something regularly. The word discipline, right, comes from the word disciple. It means to teach daily. To discipline your kids, to discipline yourself, it means to teach daily. Okay, it means to teach daily. So it's important that that's why learning, studying on a day-to-day basis is what allows you to teach, to learn, to apply. That's what religion is. What people have made it to be is Christianity, Catholicism, a whole bunch of other stuff. And so now it's connotative. It means now we're just using it, it's being taught to us a certain way where it enslaves us. It doesn't lead us back to ourselves. And that's who we are. So it says the kingdom of heaven is within. Know you not that Christ is in you? Well, what does Christ mean? It comes from the word Krishna. It means son. It means son. Not just S-O-N, it means S-U-N. It means to burn or shine. So my whole point is that, because like you said, you came in maybe a little bit later, a lot of this stuff I explained earlier, but that's why I explained it. Because I want everybody to know that you cannot just make stuff up, or you cannot just listen to everyone or everything, and that you have to really understand what you're listening to or who you're listening to or what it is you believe. Because as much as you may try or try hard, it doesn't lead you to the truth if you don't know it, right? So this is I am, your I amness is what is who you are, it's consciousness. Everything else is what you're expressing with it. I know you had a question, some other.
Yeah.
Yes.
In the chat we have the thoughts, the intuition, and sitting with them, how do you know to trust it?
So like any relationship you have, right? Thoughts, intuition, like how do you know whether to trust your thoughts? Well, how do you know how to trust anyone? It takes time. You sit down and you take time, you say, this thought came, let me analyze it. Is this something that's going to free me or enslave me? Is this something that's going to expand me or contract me? Is this something that is going to make me grow and express myself more? Because that's why we're here, is to grow and express ourselves more. We made this world, but we can't experience it without a body. So we came into this physical world to express or to experience what we made. We don't want to just stand there at the roller coaster and look at it go round and round. After a while, we wanted to get on it, but we can't get on it without a body. So we're here to experience what it is we made. So in order to have this experience, we have to be able to think and to be able to process information, and we can't do that without spending time with ourselves. But when we do that, the longer we do it, the better we'll get at it. Right. So is there any other questions? Or circle of animals.
Before you go, everybody, let me just say this. One of Lucky's favorite things that he says to me all the time is, I don't care what you want. I just want you to have what you want. So, just ponder on that information. I want to thank Veronica for assisting and making things run smoothly. To my big brother, as always, hey, listen, I get on the phone with him and I think sometimes I'm just saying what's up, and we'll be on the phone 3 hours. You can see why, man. We go back and forth with this good information, and he holds me accountable to the highest level. So thus, I'm holding you guys to that same level so we can all live the way we desire to live. My goal is to, maybe 3 to 4 times a month, have these conclaves of swapping information as Lucky's schedule and Veronica's schedule opens up. So that's the case and you want to be part, I know how to reach pretty much everybody. Lucky knows how to reach his good friend in Texas. So if you want to be part, just let me know and we'll continue to move onward and upward with changing our mindset and our thoughts. Everything starts with our mind. So closing, I hope everybody has an awesome, fantastic day. Lucky, anything in closing? Any last quotes that you make up that you give us to go with? Give us something. Give us something to go with today.
No, this is just for everybody to be what they want to be. This is for you to take the information and be whatever you want to be. That's all I help people do is, what do you want? I help you get what you want, right? Whatever you want to do or be, that's what this information for is, for you to take and use it for your own. I don't care what you want to be. Like Marcus said, I just want you to be it. And in order for you to be that externally, you have to first be that internally.
Wow. So thank you, everybody. We're gonna end this link, and have a great and awesome day. And I'll talk to you guys soon. We'll be in contact.